All right, guys, I'm just going to quickly go through a few slides on. This week is going to be about populations, population graphs, and factors that affect populations. So I just have a few slides to go over. It'll just take a few minutes, and then I want you to read one section out of the textbook and just do a few questions from that section, and that'll start off our week here. So population size and limiting factors. So there's four population determinants that affect population size directly. Natality, that's the number of births, the birth rate. Mortality, that's the number of deaths. Immigration, that means number of individuals coming into an area. And then emigration, the number of individuals leaving an area. As usual, pause this video if you need to think about any of these. The population growth rate is the birth rate in immigration because that's individuals coming in, and minus the death rate and the emigration. That's the number of individuals that will leave the population. So that just makes good sense. The limiting factors for a population. Limiting factors control the population size. They prevent populations from growing out of control. And they are as follows. Food supply, how much is there for them to consume or to eat? Weather, things like floods, fires, drought, frost. But even, we'll just leave it at that. The amount of space available in the ecosystem. Diseases can spread and decrease populations rapidly. Competition, that would be from like other species competing for the same food source in the same space. Pollution, that would be human-caused pollution that can decrease size and the amount of food supply available, and it can affect the weather as well. Biotic potential, meaning the number of offspring that they're able to have, and those are the limiting factors for populations. The section that you're going to read goes into this in a little bit more detail. So the limiting factors acting on a population create a fluctuating equilibrium or steady state. Over time, the net population growth should be zero. Now that would be an indicator of a stable population. All right. So if you look down at the graph, the population over these years, it increases. It gets a little too high, and then the limiting factors in the ecosystem bring it back down. And then it gets a little low, then it gets high. But you would call this that steady state, right? The blue line or that purple line let's call it the darker purple line underneath, it's showing you that steady state where the actual numbers are this fluctuating, this wave-like pattern. Carrying capacity is the maximum population size if a particular species that a given ecosystem can sustain. So that would be right there. There's that carrying capacity right there. It's just over 1.5 million. And those are the slides on populations. The section focuses on separating these factors into biotic, living, and abiotic factors that affect populations. Actually, I'm going to get out of this and just show you what that section looks like for a minute, if I can navigate my way to it. It's this one right here, and here's your section. So biotic and abiotic influences on ecosystems. So this graph right here is a really good one to show you what sort of optimal and tolerance ranges that populations can go into, and things that negatively impact them. And you're going to have some questions on that. They also go through the types of abiotic factors that affect different ecosystems, that being the terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. And then it goes into the biotic factors: predation, competition, mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism. And then it goes into carrying capacity, which we've already talked about. There's only a few questions I want you to do here. I think it's just, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8, I believe, are the questions that I've assigned here. One, two, three, four are just straight. Did you understand what we were just talking about? Did you understand the basics of what is in this section? And then number 8, you do have to think a little bit harder to complete. And that's going to be our first lesson of the week. So get that done, and get the questions turned in as usual. And then I'll have on Wednesday we'll be looking at population graphs. I'll post that on Wednesday. And really, it's just an assignment on graphing some population from some data. And then you guys can submit that when it comes due. That's all for now, guys. Keep the emails coming if you have any questions. I'm just going to be getting some caught up in some marking, and from here on in, I'll probably post a mark update towards the end of the week, like I did this past Saturday. All right, guys. Good luck. That's it for now.